The world rewards the loud, the ones who speak up, the ones who never stop talking. But the most powerful people in any room are silent. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they know when to say nothing. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. It's an observation. It's a strategy. And once you learn to use it, you become unstoppable. In the next 30 minutes, you learn why saying less makes you more powerful, more respected, more influential. This is the power of silence. Chapter 1. Stop talking your way out of respect. Most people talk too much. They explain when no explanation is needed. They defend when no attack has been made. They fill every silence with noise. And in doing so, they lose power. Every time you over-explain, you look weak. Every time you justify yourself to people who don't matter, you shrink. Every time you fill silence out of nervousness, you give away control. Respect is not earned by talking. It's earned by presence, by confidence, by knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. And most importantly, by not needing validation from every person you meet. Think about the people you respect most. The ones who command attention without demanding it. Do they talk constantly? Do they explain themselves to everyone? No. They speak when it matters. And when they do, people listen. Now think about the people who never shut up. The ones always defending. Always justifying. Always performing. Do you respect them? Or do you tune them out? The more you talk, the less people hear. Because your words lose value. They become noise. Background chatter. Meaningless. But when you are selective with your words, when you speak only when necessary, people lean in. They pay attention. Because they know if you are talking, it's important. Here's the shift. Stop explaining yourself to people who didn't ask. Stop defending your choices to people who don't respect them anyway. Stop filling silence because you are uncomfortable. Let the silence sit. Let people wonder. Let them be curious. Because mystery creates respect. Oversharing destroys it. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live, how you spend your time, how you make your decisions. And the moment you stop giving explanations, you take your power back. Most people talk because they are insecure. They need approval. They need agreement. They need to be understood by everyone. But that need makes them weak, desperate, easy to manipulate. Confident people don't need to be understood by everyone. They are comfortable being misunderstood, comfortable being judged, comfortable standing alone. How many times have you talked yourself into a corner? How many times have you said too much and regretted it later? Starting today, say less. Not because you are hiding, but because you are choosing. Choosing when to share. Choosing who deserves your words. Choosing power over approval. Because silence is not the absence of communication. Silence is the highest form of it. It says, I don't need to convince you. I don't need your validation. I am enough as I am. And that confidence? That's what earns respect. Chapter 2. Use silence to control every conversation. Conversations are battles. Not in a hostile way, but in a strategic one. Two people, two agendas, two egos. And the person who controls the conversation controls the outcome. Most people think control means talking more, being louder, having the last word. But real control is the opposite. Real control is silence. When you stay silent, you force the other person to fill the space. And in filling that space, they reveal more than they intended. They show their cards. They expose their weaknesses. They give you information. This is why skilled negotiators use silence. They ask a question. Then they shut up. They don't interrupt. They don't rush. They wait. And the other person, uncomfortable with the silence, starts talking, offering, compromising. The first person to speak after a proposal loses. Always. Because speaking shows desperation. It shows discomfort. It shows lack of control. But silence? Silence shows strength, patience, confidence. In arguments, silence is devastating. When someone attacks you verbally, they expect a reaction, a defense, a counterattack. But when you stay silent, you take away their power. You refuse to play the game. And that silence makes them question themselves. It makes them feel foolish. It makes them look weak. Because they are fighting alone. Silence also protects you from saying things you'll regret. When you are angry, silence gives you time to think, to cool down, to choose your words carefully. Instead of exploding and destroying relationships, you pause. You breathe. You respond instead of react. Here's another powerful use. Listening. Real listening. Most people don't listen. They wait for their turn to talk. They plan their response while the other person is still speaking. But when you stay silent and truly listen, you hear everything. The words, the tone, the emotion, the truth. And when people feel heard, truly heard, they open up. They trust you. They share more. Because silence creates safety. But there's a difference between strategic silence and avoidance. Strategic silence is intentional. It's powerful. It's controlled. Avoidance is fear. It's running. It's weakness. Strategic silence says, I choose not to engage right now. Avoidance says, I'm too scared to engage ever. Know the difference. Use silence as a tool, not as a hiding place. In meetings, silence creates authority. When everyone is talking over each other, fighting for attention, stay quiet. Let them exhaust themselves. Then, when there's a pause, speak. One sentence. Clear. Direct. Powerful. Everyone will listen. Because you waited. You didn't beg for attention. You commanded it. Silence also reveals who's important. In any group, the person who can stay silent longest without feeling awkward is usually the most powerful. Because they are comfortable. They don't need constant validation. They don't need to perform. How many times have you talked yourself into trouble? How many times have you said too much in a negotiation and lost? Starting now, practice silence. Ask your question. Then stop. Wait. Watch. Let the other person fill the space. And when they do, listen. Really listen. Because in their words, in their nervousness, in their need to fill the silence, you'll find everything you need to win. Chapter 3. Let your presence speak louder than your words. Words are cheap. Anyone can talk. Anyone can make promises. Anyone can claim greatness. But presence? Presence is rare. Presence is earned. And presence is undeniable. When you walk into a room, people should feel you. Not because you are loud. Not because you are demanding attention. But because you are grounded. Centered. Calm. You carry weight without saying a word. Most people try to prove themselves with words. They talk about their achievements, their plans, their potential. But the more they talk, the less impressive they become. Because real power doesn't need a narrator. Think about the most powerful people you've encountered. Did they announce their power? Did they brag? Did they explain how important they are? No. You just felt it. In how they moved, how they looked at you, how they occupied space. That's presence. And it's built in silence. Presence starts with stillness. Most people are constantly moving, fidgeting, checking their phone, looking around. That scattered energy screams insecurity. But when you are still, truly still, you radiate confidence. Stillness says, I'm here. Fully. I'm not distracted. I'm not anxious. I'm not trying to be anywhere else. And that presence draws people in. Eye contact is part of presence. But not aggressive staring. Calm, steady eye contact. The kind that says, I see you. I'm not afraid of you. And I'm not trying to impress you. Most people break eye contact too soon. Out of nervousness. Out of social conditioning. But when you hold it just a second longer, you create impact. You create respect. Body language also builds presence. Stand tall. Shoulders back. Feet grounded. Move with intention. Not rushed. Not hesitant. Deliberate. Like every step has purpose. When you move this way, people notice. They feel your energy before you say a word. Presence also means not reacting. When someone insults you, challenges you, tests you, the instinct is to react, to defend, to attack back. But presence stays calm, unbothered, unshaken, and that calm is more intimidating than any comeback. Because it shows you are not controlled by their words. You are not affected. You are above it. Silence amplifies presence. When everyone is talking, competing for attention, and you stay silent, you stand out. Not by being invisible, but by being magnetic. People wonder what you are thinking, what you know, why you are so comfortable saying nothing. That curiosity gives you power. Presence is also about energy management. Don't give your energy to everyone. Don't engage with every conversation. Don't react to every provocation. Save your energy for what matters. For who matters. When you are selective with your energy, people notice. They realize your attention is valuable. And they start working to earn it. Here's the truth. People don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. And presence makes people feel something. Respect. Curiosity. Sometimes even intimidation. But the key is this. Presence without arrogance. Confidence without ego. Stillness without coldness. You are powerful. But you are also human. Approachable. Real. How much of your life have you spent trying to prove yourself with words? How much energy have you wasted explaining? Starting now, stop talking. Start being. Let your presence do the work. Walk into rooms like you belong. Stand in your power without announcing it. Let people feel who you are before you tell them. Because when presence and silence combine, you become unforgettable. Chapter 4. Stop defending yourself to people who don't matter. One of the most exhausting things you can do is defend yourself to everyone. To explain your choices. To justify your decisions. To prove you are worthy. But here's the truth. Most people don't deserve an explanation. And giving them one only weakens you. Every time you defend yourself, you are asking for approval. You are saying, please understand me. Please accept me. Please agree with me. And that neediness kills respect. Confident people don't explain themselves to everyone. They make decisions and move forward. They don't need consensus. They don't need permission. They trust themselves enough to stand alone. When someone questions you, challenges you, or judges you, your instinct might be to explain, to defend, to prove them wrong. But that reaction gives them power. It shows they got to you. It shows you care what they think. But what if you didn't care? What if you let them think whatever they want? What would happen? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Their opinion doesn't change your reality. Their judgment doesn't affect your path. Their misunderstanding doesn't diminish your worth. So why waste energy defending yourself to them? Here's the shift. When someone questions you, instead of explaining, just say, okay. Or, I hear you. Or nothing at all. Let them sit with their opinion. Let them wonder why you are not defensive. Let them feel awkward in the silence. Because your silence says, I don't need your approval. I don't need you to understand. I'm secure in my choices. And that security is magnetic. People respect those who don't beg for respect. Now, this doesn't mean you ignore constructive criticism. If someone you trust, someone who cares about you, offers feedback, listen, consider it. But even then, you don't owe them a defense. You owe them respect. And respect sometimes means saying, "Thank you for sharing. I'll think about it." But random people? Strangers? People who don't even know your story? You owe them nothing. Most people spend their entire lives performing for an audience that doesn't even care. They defend their career choices to relatives who have never built anything. They justify their relationships to friends who can't keep their own lives together. They explain their dreams to people who gave up on theirs. Why? Because they're afraid of judgment, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of standing alone. But standing alone is where power lives. When you are comfortable being misunderstood, you become free. Free from other people's expectations. Free from their limitations. Free from their fear. How many hours have you wasted explaining yourself to people who didn't ask and don't care? How many times have you changed your path because someone didn't approve? Starting today, stop defending. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. Make your decision. Stand in it. And let people think whatever they want. Their thoughts don't define you. Your actions do. Because the moment you stop defending yourself is the moment you take your power back. And once you have that power, no one can take it from you. Chapter 5. Master the art of strategic silence in conflict. Conflict is inevitable. In relationships. In work. In life. But how you handle conflict determines whether you win or lose. Whether you grow or shrink. Whether you gain respect or lose it. Most people handle conflict by talking, arguing, defending, attacking. They raise their voice. They repeat themselves. They try to win by volume. But volume doesn't win arguments. Silence does. When someone attacks you verbally, they're emotional. They're out of control. They're trying to provoke a reaction. And if you react, you lose. Because now you are emotional too. Now you are out of control. Now it's a screaming match. And nobody wins a screaming match. But if you stay silent, you stay in control. You let them exhaust themselves. You let them say everything they need to say. And when they are done, when they've burned themselves out, you respond. Calmly. Clearly. Powerfully. That calm after their storm is devastating. It makes them look foolish. It makes them feel foolish. Because they lost control and you didn't. Silence in conflict also gives you time. Time to think. Time to choose your words. Time to decide if this fight is even worth having. Most arguments aren't. Most are just ego, pride, hurt feelings. And silence protects you from wasting energy on battles that don't matter. Here's another truth. In conflict, the person who needs to be heard more loses. Because that need shows weakness, desperation, lack of confidence. But the person who can stay silent, who doesn't need to defend every point, who doesn't need the last word, that person holds the power. Because they are not emotionally invested in winning the argument. They are invested in winning the outcome. Silence also forces the other person to confront themselves. When you don't argue back, they are left alone with their words. And sometimes, in that aloneness, they realize how irrational they are being. How unfair. How wrong. But if you engage, if you fight back, you give them someone to blame. You give them a target. And the fight continues. Silence ends fights. Not by avoiding them, but by refusing to feed them. In relationships, silence can be a boundary. When someone is disrespecting you, yelling at you, attacking you, you don't have to engage. You can say, "I'm not having this conversation right now," and walk away. That's not weakness. That's self-respect. Because you teach people how to treat you. And if you allow them to scream at you, to belittle you, to attack you, they'll keep doing it. But if you refuse to engage, if you set a boundary with silence and distance, they learn. They adjust. Or they leave. Either way, you win. But here's the warning. Don't confuse silence with suppression. Silence is choosing not to engage. Suppression is bottling up your emotions until you explode. Know the difference. Strategic silence means you are calm, centered, choosing your battles. Suppression means you are afraid, resentful, avoiding necessary conversations. One builds strength. The other builds resentment. How many arguments have you lost because you couldn't stay calm? How many times have you said things you regretted in the heat of the moment? Starting now, practice strategic silence. When conflict arises, pause. Breathe. Let the other person speak. Don't interrupt. Don't defend. Just listen. Then, when they're done, decide if responding is even necessary. Because sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Chapter 6. Build mystery and influence by revealing less. The more people know about you, the less interesting you become. The more you share, the less valuable your words become. The more you reveal, the easier you are to manipulate. Mystery is magnetic. It draws people in. It makes them curious. It makes them want more. And when you master the art of revealing less, you become more powerful, more influential, more unforgettable. Most people overshare. They tell their entire life story to strangers. They post every thought on social media. They explain every decision to anyone who asks. And in doing so, they become predictable, boring, easy to dismiss. But when you hold back, when you keep parts of yourself private, people wonder. They speculate. They create stories about you. And those stories often make you more interesting than the truth ever could. This doesn't mean being secretive or dishonest. It means being selective. Knowing what to share and what to keep to yourself. Knowing that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. In conversations, the person asking questions has more power than the person answering them. Because the asker controls the direction. The asker learns. The asker stays mysterious. So ask more than you answer. Let people talk about themselves. People love talking about themselves. And when you let them, they walk away feeling good, feeling heard. And they associate that feeling with you. But they know almost nothing about you. And that mystery makes you memorable. Social media has destroyed mystery. Everyone shares everything. Every meal. Every thought. Every emotion. And the result? Nobody stands out. Everyone is the same. Performing for an audience that doesn't care. But when you step back, when you go quiet, when you stop posting every detail of your life, people notice. They start paying attention to what you do share. Because it's rare. It's intentional. It has weight. Mystery also protects you. When people don't know everything about you, they can't use it against you. They can't manipulate you. They can't predict you. You maintain control. In leadership, mystery creates respect. When your team doesn't know everything you are thinking, they work harder to impress you. They respect your judgment. They don't take you for granted. But if you explain every decision, justify every move, share every doubt, you lose that respect. You become too familiar, too predictable, too human. Yes, you are human. But as a leader, you also need to maintain a certain distance, a certain authority. And mystery helps you do that. In relationships, mystery keeps things alive. When you reveal everything at once, there's nothing left to discover. The excitement fades. The curiosity dies. But when you reveal yourself slowly, layer by layer, you keep things interesting. This doesn't mean playing games. It means having depth, having layers, being more than your surface, and letting people discover those layers over time. How much of yourself have you given away for free? How many times have you overshared and regretted it? Starting now, be selective. Share less. Listen more. Let people wonder. Let them be curious. Let them work to earn your trust, your story, your truth. Because mystery isn't deception. Mystery is power. And when you wield it correctly, you become unforgettable. Chapter 7. Own your silence and command every room. Silence is not about being quiet all the time. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It's about using silence as a tool, not a crutch. When you master silence, you command respect without demanding it. You influence without manipulating. You lead without forcing. Confident people are comfortable in silence. They don't fill every pause with words. They don't need constant validation. They're okay with being alone, with their thoughts, with themselves. And that comfort is what makes them powerful. In any room, the person most comfortable with silence is usually the most powerful. Because they are not performing. They are not seeking approval. They are just being. And that authenticity is magnetic. Silence also gives you control over your emotions. When you can stay silent in moments of anger, frustration, or fear, you stay in control. You don't react. You respond. And responses are always more powerful than reactions. Reactions are emotional, impulsive, often regretted. But responses are thoughtful, intentional, strategic. Silence also makes your words more valuable. When you speak rarely, people pay attention. They know if you are talking, it's important. But when you talk constantly, your words lose meaning. They become noise. Think about the people you admire. The ones who command attention. Do they talk all the time? Or do they choose their moments? They speak when it matters. And when they do, everyone listens. You can have that same power. By choosing silence. Here's how you practice. In your next conversation, talk half as much as you normally would. Ask questions. Listen. Observe. Let the other person fill the space. Notice how it feels. Notice how they respond. Notice the shift in power. In your next meeting, don't speak first. Wait. Let others share their ideas. Then, when there's a pause, speak. One clear sentence. And watch how everyone turns to you. In your next argument, don't defend. Don't attack. Just listen. Let the other person exhaust themselves. Then respond with calm, with clarity, with strength. Silence is not passive. Silence is active. It's a choice, a strategy, a weapon. And when you own it, when you wield it with confidence, you become unstoppable. People will respect you more, trust you more, follow you more. Not because you talked them into it, but because you showed them, through your presence, through your calm, through your silence, that you are someone worth following. How much of your life have you spent talking when you should have been listening? How much power have you given away by speaking too soon? Starting now, own your silence. Be intentional with your words. Speak when it matters. Stay silent when it doesn't. And watch how your life transforms. Because silence is not the absence of power. Silence is the presence of it. And once you understand that, you become the person everyone notices, everyone respects, everyone remembers. That is the power of silence. Not in hiding, not in fear, but in choosing. Choosing when to speak. Choosing when to listen. Choosing when to let your presence do the talking. The loudest voice doesn't win. The clearest one does. Now go be clear.